Hello friends, let us discuss the current affairs of 4th of February 2020. जो सबसे important news आज आई है, Supreme Court to frame issues for 9-judge bench hearing on religious rights. So basically what happened that in September 2018, a judgment of the Supreme Court of India ruled that all pilgrims regardless of gender, including women in the menstruating age group, should be allowed to enter Sabrimala. So this judgment on Sabrimala temple entry was delivered by the Supreme Court 5-judge constitution bench in the year 2018. So a review petition was filed against this judgment, and the Supreme Court at that time had decided that this topic of Sabrimala, along with three other issues like the Muslim women's entry to mosques, Dawoodi Bohra community's gentle mutilation custom, and Parsi women's restriction of entry to fire temple if they marry intercaste. So all these issues that go against gender equality will be taken up in a common case which will be referred to a 9-judge bench. Now this referral of the Sabrimala case along with these three issues to the 9-judge bench has been challenged by noted advocate Mr. Fali Nariman. He has said that there are so many precedents that say that while deciding a review petition, the Supreme Court cannot refer issues to a larger bench. However, the counter view is that since this issue was not filed by a personal an individual person, and it was by way of a public interest litigation, so this issue can be heard by a larger bench. So if this issue is heard by a larger bench, it will not only decide on the Supreme Court's earlier decision on Sabrimala, it will also decide whether Muslim women's restriction of entry to mosques goes against the fundamental right of religion or not. So in this context, Article 26 of the Constitution of India is noteworthy because this article gives right to the individual to follow any religion and to follow any religious practice. However, such religious practice has to be tested at the touchstone of fundamental rights. So the bench will decide whether these practices are fundamental to those religions and whether these practices violate any of the fundamental rights of Indian citizens. So the second news is novel coronavirus. So this has become a very regular phenomenon now. Every day we are getting a news about coronavirus in the newspaper. So some basics about this. It started from Wuhan city, which is in Hubei province of China, and it is a zoonotic infection which spreads from animals to human beings. Basically, there is a rise in glycoprotein level of the cells which lead to reduction in the immunity level of the cells. So recently we did that the World Health Organization has declared coronavirus as a public health emergency of international concern. So when WHO declares a disease or an epidemic as public health emergency of international concern, many checks and controls are placed around the world, such as the scanning of people at the airports, the quarantine wards, special type of medical facilities at various hospitals, which have to be followed by the member countries. So in this news, the State Disaster Management Authority had recommended that novel coronavirus be declared a state calamity. So in pursuance to that recommendation, Kerala government has declared it a state emergency because third confirmed case has been found in Kerala and the district of Kasaragod, and 84 other people are undergoing treatment, and some of them may show the traces of this virus. So since this virus has a incubation period of 14 days, it takes some time for the symptoms to show up after the person gets infected. So out of these 84 people, if more people are shown up to be infected by the novel coronavirus, that would be a major development. Our next news is manufacturing activity reaches a near 8-year high in January. So in India, this is a good news after a lot of economic downturn, that the manufacturing activity has shown an 8-year high in the month of January 2020. So the index that is used to measure the manufacturing activity is the Purchasing Managers Index. So in this index, it is counted on a scale of 0 to 100, where 50 shows neither expansion nor contraction, but if the score is less than 50, that shows that the manufacturing has contracted, and if it is above 50, that shows expansion. However, for the 30th consecutive month, it has been above 50, which shows that the manufacturing activity in the country has been expanding, and it has been noticed that the PMI index rose from 52.7 in December to 55.3 in January. So in the month of December 2019, it was 52.7, which shows a 2.7 percentage expansion, whereas in the month of January 2020, it has shown an expansion of 55.3. So it is a welcome development as far as manufacturing activity is concerned. Our next news is from international relations. Operation Vanilla spices up Madagascar ties. So basically, there were huge floods in Madagascar, which is off the coast of the African continent. So India has been sprucing up its ties with Madagascar, whose capital is Antananarivo. So India has included Madagascar along with the Comoros Islands and the French Reunion Islands. So these three, first is Madagascar, second is Comoros, and third is the French Reunion Islands, into the Indian Ocean region of its Ministry of External Affairs wing. So that shows that India's clout in the Indian Ocean is increasing, and that also gives credence to the concept of Indo-Pacific. So what is the concept of Indo-Pacific? It states that the entire neighborhood from the coast of Africa to the US west coast is one, and that region is the Indo-Pacific region. And India has a large role to play in the region because of its large coastline and because of its force projection capability in the Indian Ocean region. So India launched Operation Vanilla for flood relief in the island of Madagascar, and now the ties have been improving. So the Defense Minister of Madagascar will be visiting India on a visit. So Operation Vanilla was carried out by Indian naval ship Airavat, and it is also in consonance with the Sagar policy of India in Indian Ocean region. So what is Sagar policy? It is the security and growth for all in the region. So security and growth for all in the region, this is the policy of the government of India. So basically, government has been firming up its ties with the island nations in the Indian Ocean region, and this news is a affirmation of that policy. Our next news is a report called the Annual Crime in India Report has been issued by the National Crime Records Bureau, which states that in the years 2016, 17 and 18, maximum numbers of missing women and children cases have been reported in the states of Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh and West Bengal. So this is a very worrisome development for these three states. So Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh and West Bengal are the states that report the maximum number of missing children and women. And this report was released by the NCRB on the Supreme Court directive. So the Supreme Court in 2019 had directed the National Crime Records Bureau to analyze the data on missing persons, especially on women and children, so that areas prone to persons being trafficked can be identified. So the basic reason why the Supreme Court asked the NCRB to prepare this report is so that there can be definite data on human trafficking. And since we know that within trafficking, mostly women and children are trafficked, so Supreme Court directed to publish this report. And these three states have earned the dubious distinction of being the highest number of missing women and children. Our next news is from the agriculture. So swarms of locusts spotted in border villages of Punjab. So what this is a new phenomenon. Basically, for the first time and in the last many years, locusts have been spotted in the border villages of Punjab. So what are locusts? Locusts are short-horned grasshoppers. They are the short-horned grasshoppers, So basically they infect the crop and they can totally change the agricultural productivity. They can hugely impact the agricultural productivity wherever they attack the crop. So a large mission was launched, whereas hundreds of tons of insecticides, 400 to 500 tons of insecticides were used to eliminate the locusts. So the Chief Minister of Punjab, Captain Amrinder Singh, had urged the Prime Minister Narendra Modi to raise the issue with Pakistan, and in the meantime to control this disease that is spreading in the fields of Punjab. So it has a huge impact on agricultural productivity, not only in the state in which it is infected, but it gets spread very fastly. So it had the potential to impact the agricultural productivity not only in Punjab but also in the states of Haryana, Rajasthan, Gujarat, and even Madhya Pradesh. So if we look at the history of this locust cycle, so no locust attack has been witnessed since 1962. However, during the years 1978 and 1993, large scale upsurges were observed. But localized locust breeding was controlled in 1998, 2002, 2005, 2007, and 2010. So there have been various times when we have seen a surge in the locust cycles in India. But since 2010, the situation remained calm and no major breeding and swarm formation has been reported. So thank you everyone. This has been the analysis for February 4, 2020.